My name is Denise Mount, and the name of my story today is Mount Pelee Spring. It was spring, the spring of 1980. Oh my goodness, that was 40 years ago now. Wow. I was on vacation. I went to the island of Martinique so that I could sunbathe in the Caribbean. And on one of the days that I was there, I booked a bus tour of the island so I could see the sights and learn the history of Martinique. In the morning, we rode up the east coast and we stopped at a place called St. Pierre. It was nestled between a bustling harbor and a tall mountain. We got off the bus and stood on the dirt road, which in places had some bricks that were flush with the road. And the tour guide told us the story of St. Pierre. You see, the mountain next to St. Pierre is called Mount Pelee, and Mount Pelee is a volcano. When the French came to colonize in the 1500s, they asked the people who were already there, "What's up with the volcano?" And the people told them that it rumbled from time to time, but it had not erupted in their lifetime, or their parents, or the parents before them. They were not sure when or if Mount Pelee had ever erupted, but it did rumble from time to time, so they were pretty sure it was active. Throughout the 1600s, 1700s, 1800s, Mount Pelee rumbled from time to time. The people believed that it was an active volcano, but it did not erupt. And then came the spring of 1902. In the spring of 1902, Mount Pelee was rumbling a lot. It was making louder noises than they had ever heard before. They sounded a bit threatening. And the people wondered, is it going to erupt? And they called in experts. And the experts said, "Oh yeah, it's about to blow. Y'all need to get to a place of safety." But then there were some other experts who said, "You know, it hasn't blown up before, and maybe it's made noises like this before, but we just didn't know it, and it didn't blow up. And anyway, if it's going to go, we'll have plenty of notice, and you'll have lots of time to get to safety." And the people were confused, and they were scared, and they decided to look to their mayor for guidance. And the mayor cared about the people. He didn't want anything terrible to happen to them. But, you know, who's to say when it was going to erupt, if at all? And election day was just a couple of days away, and he was up for re-election. And if he told the town to evacuate then and disrupt the elections, and then nothing ever happened with the volcano, well, the people would be really mad. And then there'd be, whispers of conspiracies. And then when they finally, rescheduled the election, he'd be out of a job. And why risk all of that when it might not be that dangerous? And so ultimately the mayor decided to wait until after the elections. After the elections, they can decide if they should leave then, if they should leave later, On May the 2nd, May the 8th, 1902, a day that was before Election Day in St. Pierre, the top of Mount Pelee blew off. The solid rock went to liquid and then gas in an instant. The heat was intense and it rolled down the mountain and across the town of St. Pierre, which at that point in time held 30,000 people. And everything and everyone was gone, just like that. The bricks that we were standing on 78 years later were all that was left, besides a lone survivor. And he was a prisoner in a mostly underground cell on the outskirts of town facing away from Mount Pelee. This spring, the spring of 2020. There's danger in our air. There's danger across the whole world. And the experts have told us there's all of these things we need to do to stay safe. And then there's other experts and naysayers who say, no, doing all of those things will make it all worse for the rest of us. And we're all confused and we're worried and we're wondering what we should do. And I'm reminded this spring of the story of Mount Pelee. And I start to think that maybe 100 years from now, in some spring, someone might be standing on a brick that once belonged to my house. And a tour guide is going to be explaining, yeah, they were all gone. Just like